Hello, mic check. Hello, hello, hello.
Hey, 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 Jack.
people, they are sitting at the last line. So I request all of you to please come and occupy frontline chairs. We have ample number of vacant chairs, so please come forward. That will look really nice from stage point of view. Thank you for keeping the request. To my left also I can see few of our audience, they are sitting at the last line, so please to come and join us at the front line sitting arrangements. All of you are must aware that this session would be chaired by none other than Honorable Minister of State for Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises and Labor and Employment, Madam Sushri Shobha Karandlaje. I request everyone to please come forward.
चेंज होगा डेजिग्नेशन थोड़ा मैं आपको दिखा दूँ
Hello. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed dignitaries. The chair of our session, Honorable Minister of State for Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises and Labor and Employment, Madam Sushri Shobha Karandlaji, has already arrived the venue. Ma'am, we welcome you. Meanwhile, I would be requesting the moderator of our sessions and panelists to please be seated on dais. May I request Sri P. Kumaran, Special Secretary ER and DPA MEA, to be seated on the dais. I would be humbly requesting our panelist, Sri V. Muralidharan, former MOS for External Affairs, New Delhi, Mr. Ashok Mago, Chairman and CEO, Mago and Associates, USA, Mr. Rohit Ratnakar Rao, Founder, CEO of Medrock Corporation, a multinational pharmaceutical company, and SK Corporation, from Peru and Bolivia, Mr. Vilvantan Krishnamurthy, dedicated and experienced social worker and cultural leader with an extensive background in welding technology and social services, Berlin, to be seated on dais. Mr. Sopnendu Mohanty, Chief FinTech Officer of the Monetary Authority of Singapore, to please be seated. Shri Ashok Kalra. Shri Ashok Kalra, Managing Director and partner of the Mughal Mahal Group, is the founder of the Mughal Mahal chain of restaurants across Kuwait with 12 dine-in outlets and 500 staff members from India. Mr. Kandarp Mehta, actor professor, senior lecturer in the negotiation unit and the entrepreneurship department of IESE Business School. Our dignitaries, including our Honorable Chair, is already there on dais. Thank you to Honorable Chair, Honorable Minister, ma'am, and thank you to our befitting moderator, Shri P. Kumaran, sir. Thank you to our panelists for giving your valuable time. We will be witnessing a brainstorming session on building bridges, breaking barriers, stories of migrant skills. First of all, I would be requesting our assessors to please come with flower bouquet. Let's convey our fresh wishes. I would be requesting Special Secretary ER and DPA MEA, Shri P. Kumaran sir, to present a bouquet to Honorable Minister of State for Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises and Labor and Employment, Madam Sushri Shobha Karandlaje. And audience, please give your energies a big round of applause. I request our assistants to please present flower bouquets to our moderator, Sri P. Kumaran, Special Secretary, ER and DPA, MEA. We welcome you, sir. We have with us Sri V. Muralidharan. Can we expect some energy, some participation, audience, throughout the session? This is just the beginning. Mr. Ashok Mago. He is there. Okay. Mr. Rohit Ratnakar Rao. Mr. Rohit Ratnakar Rao. We welcome you to Pravasi Bharatiya Divas 2025 18th edition, Day 2, first plenary. Mr. Vilvantan Krishnamurthy, sir, we welcome you.
Hey.
Mr. Sopnendu Mohanty. Shri Ashok कालरा जी आप दे दीजिए And last but not the least, Mr. Kandarp Mehta. So we wholeheartedly welcome you to this session and equally to PBD 2025, Pravasi Bharatiya Divas. Well, this session is a celebration of stories, stories of great determination and success. It will explore how migrant skills have not only shaped personal journeys, but also contributed to the global economy, cultural integration, and innovation. Let's begin by acknowledging our dignitaries who are already there. Let me take you through the profile of our chair. To chair this important discussion, we are honored to have Madam Sushri Shobha Karandlaje, Honorable Minister of State for Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises and Labor and Employment. Madam plays a pivotal role in advancing India's socio-economic growth. Known for her dedication and pragmatic approach, she is committed to empower the workforce, enhancing entrepreneurship and supporting sustainable development in line with the vision of Viksit Bharat. Madam Minister, your vision inspired us and we eagerly await your opening remarks. Your dynamic leadership has always influenced us and your forward-looking policies resonate with India's aspiration for a developed, equitable and sustainable future with a focus on inclusive growth, innovation and resilience. Through her stewardship, the dual focus on MSMEs and labor reforms is set to make a transformative impact on India's journey towards Viksit Bharat. Ma'am, I request you to please share your opening remarks with a big round of applause from our audience.
Namaskar to all. I hope you had your lunch and not sleeping now, right? Respected panelists, respected delegates from different countries, media friends, आप सबको देख के मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा. Happy to see you all. Happy to speak you all. मुझे लग रहा है आज सुबह का प्रधानमंत्री जी का कार्यक्रम, उसका भाषण हम सबको प्रेरणा दिया है, प्रेरणा मिला है. Friends, you are the brand ambassadors of our country in foreign land. You are the ambassadors for yoga. Many of you are ambassadors for Ayurveda. You are the ambassador for our culture, our handicrafts, and Make in India products. Today our topic is breaking the barriers and the stories of migrant skills. हमारा बल क्या है, हमारा कमजोरी क्या है? What is our weakness and what is our strength? What is the barriers to achieve our goals for India and also for you? Indian diaspora in many countries, in all the countries, is a vibrant community. मैं आप सबको बधाई देती हूँ, धन्यवाद देती हूँ. सुबह प्रधानमंत्री जी ने बात रखे हैं. आपके कारण, आपका प्यार के कारण हमारे प्रधानमंत्री को आप अपने देश में दिए हुए रिसेप्शन के कारण, आपका यूनिटी के कारण भारत का प्रधानमंत्री जी को पूरा विश्व में इज्जत मिला, गौरव मिला. ये हमारा बहुत बड़ा पिछले 10 साल में हमारे देश को फायदा हुआ. मुझे लग रहा है आपको भी फायदा मिला होगा, आपको भी पहले से ज्यादा इज्जत मिला होगा, रिकॉग्निशन मिला होगा. मगर भारत में आपका कार्यक्रम के कारण इंडिया में एक पॉजिटिव वाइब्रेशन आया है. बाहर के लोग एनआरआई इतना अच्छे कार्यक्रम कर सकते हैं, हम भी करना. इसे एक प्रेरणा भारत में हमारे यंगस्टर्स को मिला है. भारत में जनसंख्या एक समस्या भी है, एक ताकत भी है. we are speaking about skills, and we are speaking about the workforce. भारत का वर्कफोर्स ज्यादा से ज्यादा अभी विदेश में है, अनस्किल्ड है। मुझे G20 ब्राजील में बहुत सारे देशवासी मिले, मिनिस्टर्स मिले। उन्होंने मुझे बोला, आप लेबर डिपार्टमेंट, एम्प्लॉयमेंट डिपार्टमेंट देखते हैं, आप लेबरर्स भेजना है तो स्किल्ड लेबरर्स को भेजिए, ट्रेनिंग करके भेजिए। इसी से लेबरर्स को भी फायदा होती है, ज्यादा सैलरी मिलता है, हमारा कंपनी को, हमारा देश को भी फायदा होता है ना, आपका देश को भी फायदा होता है। ऐसा बात को बहुत सारे देशवासी, भारत का अलग अलग देश का लेबर मिनिस्टर्स, एमएसएमई मिनिस्टर्स रखे हैं। Like world is in need of skilled laborers, skilled workforce, professionals that can break the barriers of our workforce, our migrants. हमारे देश का जनसंख्या को हम कमजोरी नहीं समझना। मैं आपको विनंती करती हूँ, आई रिक्वेस्टिंग यू, आप अपना देश में क्या कर सकते हैं वापस जाने के बाद? व्हाट यू कैन डू? प्लीज लिस्ट आउट व्हाट यू वांट। यू कैन डेवलप बिजनेस ऑन दैट बेसिस। आपको अच्छा वर्कफोर्स चाहिए, जरूर हमको बताइए। हमारा डिपार्टमेंट, लेबर डिपार्टमेंट में, स्किल डेवलपमेंट में, आरडीपीआर में, अर्बन डेवलपमेंट, अलग अलग डिपार्टमेंट में हम स्किल ट्रेनिंग दे रही है। वी आर ट्रेनिंग आवर पीपल, यंग जनरेशन। वी आर रीस्किलिंग देम, वी आर अपस्किलिंग देम। आपको ऐसे लेबर फोर्स चाहिए तो जरूर हमको बता सकते हैं। हमारे देश का बहुत बड़ा हिस्सा है वो एग्रीकल्चर। एक कालखंड था हम बाहर से अनाज लाते थे। वी आर इंपोर्टिंग wheat, we are importing rice, we are importing many things. But now India is producing surplus cereals, surplus vegetables, surplus fruits. कोविड का संदर्भ में कौन कौन क्या क्या मांगा हम भेजे हैं। We exported cereals, we exported milk, we exported fruits, we exported vegetables for the needy countries. We exported pharmaceuticals. We exported vaccines. This is the strength of our country now. We got human resources. We got resources. So you can make use of that in your country where you stay. आपको उसके हिसाब से बिजनेस बना सकते हैं, उसको आप आगे कर सकते हैं। इसीलिए मैं मानती हूं हमारा पॉपुलेशन को हम ताकत पे परिवर्तन करना, हमारा शक्ति से शक्ति परिवर्तन करना। बहुत सारे देश नर्सेस को मांग रहे हैं, हम उतना नर्सेस दे नहीं सकते। बहुत सारे देश टेक्नीशियंस को मांग रहे हैं, हम उतना एक्सपोर्ट नहीं कर सकते। वी कैन नॉट सेंड दैट मच ऑफ नर्सेस, दैट मच नंबर ऑफ टेक्नीशियंस, डॉक्टर्स। आई वेंट टू नॉर्थ नॉर्फॉक in England. Each and every house I visited, I went for the election purpose, for parliamentary election exchange program. Each and every house they were asking for doctors. आप डॉक्टर्स भेजिए इंडिया से, नर्सेस भेजिए. इधर पूरा बुढ़े लोग हैं, एक भी नौजवान नहीं है हमारे गांव में. इसलिए हमको नर्सेस चाहिए, डॉक्टर्स चाहिए. इसीलिए हमारे नौजवानों को ऐसे तैयारी करने को हम सोचना चाहिए. मैं अलग अलग डिपार्टमेंट में भारत सरकार ऐसे कार्यक्रम कर रहे हैं, हमारा राज्य सरकार ऐसे कार्यक्रम कर रहे हैं. इसलिए आपको मैं विनती कर रही हूं, जरूर आप एक बार आपका डायस्पोरा के साथ आपका बिजनेसमैन सब बैठना, आपके लिए क्या चाहिए, आपका देश के लिए क्या चाहिए, इसी से आपको कैसे फायदा होगा एंड भारत को कैसे फायदा होगा, इसको सोचना चाहिए. ऐसे मैंने मांग रखती हूं. आज का सेशन में बहुत सारे पैनलिस्ट हैं, ज्यादा बोलने का नहीं. हम योगा को उधर योगा टीचर्स को हम भेज सकते हैं, आयुर्वेदा डॉक्टर्स को भेज सकते हैं. हम स्पिरिचुअलिटी से बहुत आगे है. हमारे माता अमृतानंदमयी, रविशंकर गुरु जी, सदगुरु जग्गी बाबा, ऐसे बहुत सारे इस्कॉन, ऐसे लोग स्पिरिचुअलिटी का स्प्रेड उधर कर रहे हैं. उसको लिए हम बहुत सारे कर सकते हैं. फूड, टेक्सटाइल्स, हैंडक्राफ्ट्स, ऐसे सारे विषय में आपका देश में हम स्प्रेड करने का, उसका विषय में बात करने का, उसका विषय को सोचने का, उसके विषय में बिजनेस बनाने को हम जरूर सोचते हैं. इसीलिए जरूर हमारा पैनलिस्ट इसका विषय में ज़्यादा बोलेंगे. मुरलीधरन जी है, वो एक्सपीरियंस्ड है, पहले मंत्री रहे हैं. बहुत सारे ऐसा प्रोग्राम प्रवासी भारतीयों का प्रोग्राम उन्होंने किया है. इसके लिए आप सबको मैंने बहुत बधाई देती हूँ, क्योंकि आप हमारा देश 2047 में विकसित भारत होना प्रधानमंत्री जी का लक्ष्य है. सुबह हम सुने हैं, भारत का विकसित होने से सबको फायदा होगा, क्योंकि तब विश्व में कोई देश समस्या में था, तब भारत मदद किया. वी हेल्प्ड all around, all the countries when they are in problem. इसीलिए भारत विकसित होने से जरूर हम सब विकसित हो जाएंगे. देश को फायदा है, ऐसे विश्व को भी फायदा है. हम साथ मिलके भारत को विकसित भारत बनाएंगे, क्योंकि आपका मदर रूट एक भारत का गांव में है, एक शहर में है. आप किधर भी हो, बट आपका रूट है भारत, आपका रूट है भारत का गांव, भारत का शहर है. इसलिए हम सब मिलके भारत को विकसित भारत बनाएंगे. आप सबका मदद चाहिए एंड ये जर्नी में आपका पार्टनर्स होना बहुत जरूरत है. ऐसे बात रखती हूँ मेरा पैनलिस्ट को. इसके विषय में हम कैसे हमारा बैरियर्स को ब्रेक करेंगे, हम कैसे विश्व को भारत का शक्ति दिखाएंगे एंड क्या क्या स्किल्स हम दे सकते हैं, इसके विषय में जरूर वो बात रखेंगे. एंड मुझे लग रहा है आप भी कुछ बोलना चाहते तो जरूर आपका सुझाव हम मांगेंगे. बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. नमस्कार.
Thank you, ma'am, for setting the tone so beautifully. Now it's my privilege to introduce once again our esteemed moderator of this session, Sri P. Kumaran, Special Secretary, Economic Relations and DPA, MEA. With his deep understanding of global dynamics and diplomacy, he is perfectly poised to steer this discussion. Sir, we are excited to have you lead this session. Now I hand over the floor to our moderator, Sri P. Kumaran, sir, to take this discussion forward. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Mominji. The way I plan to structure this panel discussion is to try and make a few general remarks in the beginning, and then I will ask each of the panelists to try and speak for about 8 minutes, and then we open up further discussions to have a second round of opinions from the various panelists, and then towards the end, if we have time, we will try and take a few questions from the audience. So thank you, welcome, Madam Minister, Muralidharan sir, our former MOS from the Ministry of External Affairs, esteemed panelists from various parts of the world, welcome, and it's indeed a pleasure to moderate this discussion and to try and get a series of perspectives from the diaspora in various countries. Let me try and provide a brief background on migration and migrants in general, and the drivers that motivated migration over the years. Migrants are a small share of the world population, but their weight has grown only over time. By the late 19th century, international migrants represented 14% of humanity. That is about 225 million out of a total of 1.6 billion people. But about a century later, in the beginning of the 21st century, the number stands at just over 300 million migrants out of a global population of about 8 billion, representing a lower share of just about 3%. Migrants represent about 10% of global GDP, including about $550 billion in annual remittances estimated in 2019. We do not have a global binding migration framework, but there are deeply rooted regional patterns in the flow of people shaped by family histories, business needs, and cultural preferences. The following are the key forces shaping migration and indeed human geography. Demographics, which includes imbalances between an aging north and a youthful south. Politics, this includes refugees and asylum seekers from civil wars and failing states, as well as those fleeing ethnic persecution or populism. Economics, this could include migrants in search of opportunities, workers in search of employment, etc. Technology, this could include factors such as industrial automation, displacing factory and logistics jobs, while algorithms and artificial intelligence make some skilled jobs redundant. It also could be driven by climate, long-term phenomena such as rising temperatures and therefore sea levels and water tables, and also seasonal disasters like floods, typhoons, and other climate disasters. In the past, the main drivers of migration were colonial links, regional cultural links, and economic opportunities in dynamic economies open to migration. In the future, however, the new drivers of migration could be climate change, driven by warming of the northern regions, making them more habitable, changes in regional resource endowments, such as due to the phasing out of fossil fuels, new and renewable fuels, new technologies, materials, etc., and aging societies in the global north, requiring support due to higher tax and pension burdens, shortage of skills, etc., which the Honorable Minister had just mentioned. These variables also interact in complex ways, driving migration individually and also together. The future of human mobility points in just one direction, shifting from south to north, from coast to inland, from low-lying to higher elevations, from overpriced to affordable, and from failing to stable societies. The Indian diaspora is one of the largest in the world, estimated at 30 million, and they have transformed every part of the world they have touched, enhanced understanding of India, spread awareness of Indian culture, food, vegetarianism, arts, music, dance, yoga, and also enriched their host countries, in addition to building bridges between the host countries and India. In many places, they are a model community given their grounding in India as a tolerant people brought up with a democratic ethos. Many countries have aging populations, as I just listed. We have therefore been pursuing migration and mobility partnerships with as many countries as possible. One key factor that requires to be stated and understood well is that the Indian diaspora and migrants in general have mirrored India's growth and success, and they have mutually reinforced each other. India's success has strengthened the hands of the diaspora, and the success of the diaspora has strengthened India and helped India in its development journey. We have a good cross-section of the Indian diaspora on this panel. Some of our panelists are known to me. Mr. Swapnendu Mohanty from Singapore was known to me during my posting in Singapore. Mr. Mago was known to me from my time in Washington. So I look forward to having a conversation with them and with the others. There has also been a trend towards increasing conservatism in global politics, one consequence of which is the retreat of globalization. This has been compounded by the effects of the pandemic, more geopolitical upheavals, and a surge in refugee populations, the slowdown of growth in most major economies, and also heightened national security concerns. All this has created temporary pressures from time to time against migration. So we will be discussing how all this is playing out in various countries where our panelists live. Let me start with Shri V. Muralidharan, former Minister of State at the Ministry of External Affairs. Sir, you have covered a wide variety of countries. You have visited Singapore during my time as High Commissioner. You have a deep understanding of the Indian community in the Middle East, given your own number of journeys and extensive personal connections. So I want to try and broadly request you to tell us about what makes Kerala tick in the Middle East and how the presence of Malayalis have increased over the years and how the composition of the Indian diaspora in the Middle East has changed over time. What changes do you foresee with increasing competition from other low-wage countries, automation, robotics, artificial intelligence, etc.? Should we be investing in any particular skills as part of our skill development programs? How do we provide better orientation for our workers before they go abroad for work? How can we reform our e-migrate system to unite the skilling ecosystem with the education ecosystem, with the domestic employment ecosystem and the foreign employment ecosystem? And also the challenges that you visualize as Indian communities become large. Our consular needs increase. We may have challenges relating to evacuating larger communities in the case of geopolitical challenges, and also unique, very rare difficulties such as COVID. So over to you, sir. Thank you very much.
Honorable Minister Shobha Karandalaje ji, the moderator of this session, Sri Kumaram ji, other co-panelists, the delegates who have come from across the world, namaskaram to all of you. It's I should say that I'm extremely happy to be here on a very interesting topic, very significant topic: building bridges, breaking barriers, stories of migrant skills. In fact, the idea of building bridges connects deeply with me, because during the last 5 years till May, the 5 years I had the opportunity to visit almost 60 countries in the world, mostly of Middle East and Africa or the eastern part of India, and of course meet with the diaspora, meet with the members of the community, understand the issues they face. And I would also say that migration is not a new phenomenon. Migration is as old as human history. In fact, it is in the humanity's DNA to explore. There are two types of migrations as mentioned by the Honorable Minister as well as the moderator. One is a forced migration. Under compulsions, people seek asylum and then go elsewhere. That's one part of thing. I will not touch upon those issues. I would like to focus on the other migration, which is basically what I mentioned, to explore new avenues, to search for better opportunities. That is the migration which is benefiting everyone. As Honorable Minister mentioned, it benefits the individual, it benefits the country from where the migration happens, it benefits the country from where the migrant goes. And as of now, India has the largest diaspora of 32 million people living across the globe. And the Prime Minister, our Prime Minister Honorable Narendra Modi ji, he always mentioned about India's unique strength. That is diaspora, that is demography, democracy and diversity. These are the three major features which can be considered as the strength of India. And now when we look at the present scenario, Prime Minister has been always saying that he wants to make, or we want to become the skill capital of the world. Because on the one hand, we see an aging population, whether it is Europe, Korea or Japan. And on the other hand, we have the largest youth manpower in the whole world. 65% of India's population is below the age of 35. So naturally in the coming years, we have a very large opportunity with us. And I would say that when we look at the figures, according to the World Migration Report of 2024, World Migration Report of 2024 says that the international remittances went up almost 700% from 2000 to 2024. And in that, the major share is of India. India is getting out of the total of around 800, somewhere around 800 to 900 billion dollars. India gets 125 billion dollars. So India has a major say, major benefit out of that. But when we look into the details of that, I would say that Government of India has always taken the position that the government is for safe and orderly migration. We are not against migration. We, in fact, would like to see that people go to various places, people try for better opportunities, people search for avenues, people explore their options, and it has to become an organic migration. It has to become transparent. It has to be, and in fact the e-migrate that was initiated in 2014, it has made the migration, the aspect of migration, transparent as well as accessible. Now when we look into the details of the migration, I have felt, especially when I go to the Middle East, there are different type of communities, different type of individuals who migrate. They have to be, and their issues are different, the problems they face are different. One is the blue-collared labor class, which one can say the labor class of the blue-collared thing. Second category is the middle-level management or people who are in middle-level jobs. The third is the professionals. And the fourth is the businessmen who are into big businesses, traders. So the issues faced by all the four are different. All the four face issues. I wouldn't say that the businessmen, they are for them, they are very safe, they don't have any problem. No, they have their own problems. Professionals have their own problems. The middle order or the such people, they have their own problems. And the blue collar people, they have their own issues. Now when I look at the issue, during the last 5 years, I can say that we have the mother portal. In spite of the mother portal, I had initiated a portal in my office separately, and during the last 5 years, I dealt around 4,000 cases individually of people who are in jail, harassment of women, people who were not getting their salary or post retirement or after they left the job, the benefits that are due to them. So these issues, as moderator Mr. Kumaran mentioned, because he has worked both in the Middle East as well as in Singapore. So you are aware of the both sides of the issue. So the consular activities, I think we feel the strength of the Indian consulate or the embassies, we need to assess what is the strength of the diaspora, whether the strength of the consulate or embassies commensurate with the strength of the diaspora. If you have, like Saudi Arabia, where you have 3 million people. For 3 million people, what is the strength of persons who will deal with consular issues? And what will be the strength of a country? Today somebody was telling me he is coming from Finland. He is the only delegate. He mentioned to me, I am the only delegate in this conference from Finland. The number would be less. Of course, that number will be an educated number. There will be professionals. So where there are blue-collared workers, the strength of our mission, that mission's capability to address the issues, because they consider embassy to be the government which is accessible to them. Government of India, every member of the Indian community who is abroad, he will consider the mission as the government. So how they can solve the issues? For that, being on the other side of the issue, being the person who was in charge of consular affairs also, I know that how hard our mission, people in the mission have been working. But their strength is, whether it is commensurate with the strength of the diaspora, this is one. Second is, because I have taken almost 8 minutes, I will stop here because there are 7 panelists. I thought that I will take 8 to 9 minutes. Then maybe a second round if I get, I will take 3-4 minutes. So the issue faced by the blue-collared people go as domestic help. People go as drivers, or those who go in search of such jobs, but not through proper means. This is an issue that is being faced by the blue-collared people. How to solve that issue? And in that, the migration policy, we are making efforts. I understand that the government is making efforts to see that it is orderly and safe. But for that, the awareness in the society also has to be improved. If somebody dupes a person and takes that lady as a domestic worker, but doesn't get the job that was promised, the fault is neither with the embassy, the fault is neither with the government, the fault is the person who goes and those who have misled them. Even I would say that the registered recruiting agencies, most of these cases are not done by them. They are done by the unscrupulous agencies. And in that, the cases have to be dealt by the state governments. Those state governments have to be more vigilant on the one hand, but at the same time, the how to create the awareness in the society that government will support you, government is ready to support you. Please go through the orderly means, recognized means. Don't take means and routes which are not has been announced by the government of India. So I will stop it here because there are many people here who can speak about the professionals, who will speak about the big businessmen, but for the blue collared, I don't know whether anybody will be taking on that issue. That's why I thought that I will focus on that. In the second part, if required and if provided an opportunity, I will come to the other part.
Thank you, sir. We will now move on to Mr. Ashok Mago, Chairman and CEO, Mago and Associates. One second. Mr. Ashok Mago is a Pravasi Bharatiya Samman Award awardee in the past. He is also a Padma Shri. Mr. Mago is one of the pillars of the Indian community in the US. His involvement in diaspora politics and in party politics in the US is indeed something that has served as a huge strength for the Indian embassy and consulates in the US. Let me try and give a brief context about the Indian community in the US. The Indian community in the US has a median income of $144,000 as opposed to about $77,000 for the US as a whole. The Indian community has been hardworking and contributing to the US economy on an average more than other communities in general. Indians have a lot of things going for them: the English language, communication skills, adaptability, democratic outlook, as I mentioned earlier, cultural understanding and tolerance of other viewpoints and faiths, soft skills. The earlier generation of Indians, probably the first generation, had very few representatives in politics. Mostly first generations tend to be focused on economic stability and professional or financial success. But the second generation tends to be more confident and has less inhibitions about joining politics. I would like Mr. Mago to try and analyze this transformation for us. Please also share with us the extensive coordination done during the Indo-US nuclear deal days, how the Indian community in Texas has changed over the years, how you have helped our consulates and embassies strengthen contacts with politicians in Texas, your work in the Texas Chamber of Commerce, and also your efforts to try and promote education links with India, especially between universities in India and the North Texas University system, your work as part of the Dallas-Fort Worth Hindu Temple Board, and how you were instrumental in getting Diwali celebrations started at the White House during the Bush presidency. I also want to try and pick your brain on your analysis of the new developments relating to the H-1B lottery system and the latest debate in the US on opening up legal migration, especially for highly skilled migrants. Thank you. Please.
Thank you, Special Secretary Mr. Kumran. Honorable Minister Ms. Shobha, former Minister of State, Honorable Muralidhar, I would just like to share with you my journey of 50 years in one city in USA called Dallas. In '74, there were less than 1,000 Indians in that metroplex. Today, it's about 300,000. So finally, the Indian immigrants found that there is a better place than New York, Los Angeles. Let's go south. That's the place to go. I am a banker by profession. Did banking for about 5 years in US. Then found out I don't have any future in banking. Moved into the real estate business. Did real well. Once I was independently, financially stable, decided it's time to get the Indian community involved. Involved in every sector in the country. Became a US citizen after 6 years of being there. Anywhere, whether it's India or USA or any other country, people who have the most influence are the people who are big business people, who are scientists, who are researchers, who are controlling the financials, and of course the politics. You have to have influence in the political sector, whether it's at the local level or whether it's at the state level or at the federal level. Because all the laws which are being made are going to have an impact you and your family. You can be an outsider, just sit there and gripe about this law is not good, that law is not good, or you can be part of it. And what do politicians want and need from you? Two things: your vote and your money. Those are the two things which every politician need. And I'm talking about USA. I'm not talking about India. It may be a different story in India. So I got involved in that, made friends with congressmen, with senators, got other Indian friends to be involved. And finally, all that involvement paid off one day. And that was the day when Ambassador Ronan Sen decided that he is going to try to change this ban which was imposed on India after the nuclear test India did. To change that, you needed 47 countries to sign on it. 47, not one, not two. And in that 47, you had even countries like China. But President Bush, he gave standing instructions to the Secretary of State, Condi Rice, that it has to be done, no matter what it takes. There were oppositions on both sides. In India, in the parliament, the government of Manmohan Singh had to face no confidence vote. In US, in the Senate, in the House, same thing. Each side was saying the other is getting more than they deserve. But after 3 years, finally the bill passed with overwhelming bipartisan majority. 88% in the Senate. Excuse me. I am sorry, but with the approval of the bill, finally an agreement was signed called 123 agreement. India was given the green light to start using nuclear technology, and the members of the nuclear club were allowed to deal with supplying the equipment, the material, everything needed. To me, that was the most important contribution I and my friends and community could make. Everything India is doing now, which uses nuclear technology, would not have happened if that bill never became a law. The other community's involvement, the other action, what it did was to create a Friends of India caucus in the US Senate. India is the only country which has that kind of caucus. It was a bipartisan effort. Senator John Cornyn and his wife, accompanied by me and my wife and my son, we spent 1 week in India. During our drive from Delhi to Agra, convinced the senator that when he goes back, he should send a letter to all his colleagues to be part of this bipartisan group. And finally it happened. On the last day of Ambassador Man Singh's tenure, a caucus was created. No other country has similar caucus. It has about 50 members right now. Hillary Clinton represented the Democrats. So that was the political side. Now I come to the trade. If two countries are doing business in billions and billions, they will be the best friends. Money makes everybody your best friend. We established a chamber. At that time we called it Greater Dallas Indo-American Chamber. Now it is known as US-India Chamber. And we just celebrated 25th anniversary of that chamber. We had received delegations, we have taken delegations. The governor of our state has been to India in the last 4 years. The trade between India and Texas is now over $20 billion, and it will continue to grow because Governor Greg Abbott, he sees the opportunities in India. He sees the Indian diaspora, one of the best community in the state. At our request, he started to celebrate Diwali at the governor's mansion. We gave him 2 lamps, brass lamps like this tall. And those lamps have never ever been removed where he put it the first time. It's there 5 days a year. One time, Diwali happened on their birthday. He and his wife were born on the same day. And he says the reason he married her so that they don't have to celebrate 2 birthdays, that both can be in one day. President Bush started to celebrate Diwali at the White House. Then came the Diwali stamp. Finally, we got the Diwali stamp issued. Now, some of the states, some of the cities are making Diwali as a holiday. And I am sure a day will come when it will become a national holiday. I will urge the business community, the political leader, like the business leaders, come visit Dallas. A city, a metro of about 8-9 million people has an economy of $700 billion, which is like 1/5 or 1/6 the size of Indian economy. If that metro was an independent country, it will be the 27th largest in the world. I don't know where else you can find. 700 billion is not the GDP of many states in India. Well, I am being asked, it's about time. I don't know, I thought I got 30 minutes, but maybe not. No, at the end, we build bridges and break barriers every day. Reserve Bank of India gives you $8, and they said, okay, now go and make the best of it. That's what I got, and many in this audience did. Well, thanks for listening to me. If you have any questions, how you to make from $8 to 800 million, give me a call.
Thank you, Mr. Mago. We'll come back to you in the second round if you have some points that you missed out on. We now move on to Mr. Rohit Ratnakar Rao, founder CEO of Medrock Corporation, a multinational pharmaceutical company, and SK Corporation. Mr. Rao, of course, heads the Indian Chamber of Commerce in Peru. We would very much like to hear about what the chamber does and which are the areas they are active in. I understand Mr. Rao started with plastic products, moved to pharmaceutical manufacturing in the South American market. Please do tell us something about the challenges of doing business in America, South America, especially for Indian businesses, and also in general about the Indian diaspora in Peru and Bolivia. I would also like to hear from you about connectivity challenges for both goods and passengers, and if you have any insights on challenges of signing the FTA with Mercosur. Thank you very much. And you have about 8 minutes, Mr. Rao.
Thank you very much. Our dear Industry Minister, Ms. Shobha, thank you very much. Mulidharan, Sri Mulidharan, one of the state very important ministers for a long time, and our great Mulidharan. Well, everyone, I just want to make a quick question. How many of you know where is Chile and Peru? Okay. In 1984, when this question was asked, nobody knew where was Chile. So I said, where is Chile? So suddenly I said I want to, as a child, I was too hyperkinetic. I couldn't just sit at one place. My mom used to tie me when she was cooking. So I was saying, there's no way I'm going to work for a multinational 9 to 5. No way I'm going to be a slave of any big companies. Okay, said that, it was nice on the book. But I said, where to go? Definitely, US will not take me because I'm not a PhD, I'm not a MBA. And 19 years of old, I went to look for something else. Something else for myself, something else for India. Well, the journey started in 1984, where I reached Santiago, and my first biggest problem was no English. So who would know? There was no Google Chacha, definitely, who would tell you what was what. There was no fax, there was no internet. So basically, for first few months, going here and there with my little money, which my dad and uncle had given, if I go back, they'll give me a proper kick. Say, why the hell you go so far? So somehow I find a small, to make it quick, I found a small job. And luckily, my bosses were good, the Indian bosses. And as you say, have the right boss and not the right company. So for first 3-4 years, I worked, they gave me a good chance to work. And I found this fantastic opportunity of understanding the culture. Being very young, at diaspora there were not even 50 Indians, I mean max, which you wouldn't know where they are. So you could understand the culture and I could make good friends. So those friends helped me to initially get the first loan to buy the injection molding machines. Because that was my dad used to do in India. Well, I'm a little bit mixture. My mom's a Sindhi, my dad's a GSB. So I have both the genes. To buy cheap, sell expensive, or manufacture something and create out of it. So I went to East Germany. Why East Germany? Because with $100,000 I could buy 5 machines and not to the West. And the quasi machines helped me to start. Well, the thing started, and the best part of my life in Chile was that General Pinochet, the president of that time in Chile, he came to see who's this young man who's got an industry. I mean, what the hell is he doing in the end part of Chile to manufacture something? So he came for 10 minutes to understand what it is, and he stayed for almost 45 minutes. Why? He wanted to know what was India. In those times, nobody knew what was India. There were no information. Always my aim was to start pharmaceutical. So the idea was to see how to start pharmaceuticals, especially when in India, they feel I'm with the Red Indians, because eventually Bolivia, Peru, they don't know where it was. And in Chile, they would say, oh, from India, you're still on elephants. So what I'm going to do, how to build the bridge? It was very difficult initially to get the documentation, to make sure that the products were registered. So I'm very happy to tell you that we were the first company to register Indian products in 1996, 97. And after that, a lot of other companies came into Latin America. And now today we are very successful diaspora, big companies doing big business in different parts of Latin America. Plus we have a manufacturing facility. We manufacture medicines, tablets and capsules there. But I don't know why this music is going on, what a pity. So anyway, hope they have cut the music. So the Indian pharmaceutical today has really grown very big. I'm very happy to say that we're the first ones to start a tablet registration in these countries. Today, starting from Brazil to Mexico, the trade is huge. We are the first ones to plunge into to put a manufacturing plant. I would say we are the only Indian ones to have a manufacturing plant in Peru. So we could get the raw materials from India and make sure the product is distributed in different Latin American countries. So the story went on slowly and steadily till today Indian pharmaceutical is well known. Still we have some problem, the multinationals we always will have, saying that India is this, India is that, but the barrier is broken. The bridge is built. So even for small pharmaceuticals or big pharmaceutical companies, the market is open today. So that is going on very well. And as moderator said about INCHAM, of course, I'm the president of Chamber of India and Peru, and we're very happy to say that we could explain the big Peruvian companies what is India. And two of them already started manufacturing in India. One is all the different types of oils, and one is the soft drinks. So more and more companies, thanks to INCHAM, are coming, looking at India in a different way. So we are trying to do trade on both sides, trying to make sure that I mean, we are not like Texas, $700 billion country, but still, the trade is going up steadily very much with India and Peru. And we're happy to see that every time more and more people want to do something with Peru. And very soon, we hope that FTA is signed with Peru. It's going to be the first country in Latin America. India will sign FTA in Peru. There will be a lot of advantages, which I'm sure we'll talk on the second round. So we won't keep you guys waiting for something else. And I hand over to you, Mr. Moderator, to see what else to do. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rao. We now move on to Mr. Ashok Kalra. I believe you have to catch a flight, so let's try and change the order a little bit. Mr. Ashok Kalra is the managing director and partner of the Mughal Mahal Group and is the founder of the Mughal Mahal chain of restaurants across Kuwait with 12 outlets and 500 staff members from India. As you all know, Indian food is very popular in the Gulf region, both amongst Indians in the Indian community and, of course, the locals there. Obviously, Indian food businesses help promote exports for us, create a sense of greater connections with India. Please do tell us about the challenges faced in growing your business as an Indian CEO in the Middle East. Please also tell us if you have any insights on human resource management and any other blue-collar difficulties that the Honorable MOS mentioned.
I will touch those points.
Thank you.
What
Thank
the
you very
Minister
much.
just
And
mentioned.
also anything interesting on skills that need to be developed when you take workers from India.
I'm going to touch both the points. They were very crucial points, what she mentioned. So, anyway, thanks for the understanding as I have to catch a flight. Honorable Minister of State, Sushri Shobhaji, Honorable former Minister of State, Mr. Muralidharanji, Excellency P. Kumaran, who is our moderator today, ER and DPA Ministry of External Affairs, eminent panelists on the dais, Indian diaspora from all over the world, my colleagues who have come in a very big number from Kuwait, Indian Business Professional Council, and my dear guests. Let me tell you, as a member of the vast global Indian diaspora for nearly almost 5 decades, I consider it an honor to be a part of the country's vibrant migrant story. The multi-million strong Indian diaspora, as you all know, is the largest and most widely spread diaspora in the world. The Indian diaspora, which includes people of Indian origin, can be found in all corners of the world. And there is one now even in outer space on US space station. I support the community in Kuwait as a whole supports the ambitious plan for Viksit Bharat through our experiences, investments, and remittances. and significantly influence Kuwaiti community through the soft power they wield. Can you tell me something? There is something special we all know which can win the heart of anybody, anywhere in the world. Can any one of you quickly, because the time is running out? It's the food. So I come from the same trade. So food is such an item that we can live without a lot of things, but food and water, definitely, they are the most important ingredient of our life. Now, through our soft power, we all, Indians worldwide, and especially in Kuwait, we serve as a very positive force in building bridges between India and Kuwait. Kuwait is also instrumental in promoting greater awareness and appreciation of India's cultures, values, and belief. Through our constructive and dynamic engagements with the Kuwaitis, we overcome cultural barriers and social prejudice prevailing in Kuwait and foster the relationships that lead to a better understanding, empathy for India and its interests. Now, we have been talking about the migrant. Now, I'll just give you a very brief story about the migrants. Now, stories of the Indian migrant skills are a reflection of the factors that pushed us from our motherland, which is Bharat, pulled to distant lands, and the objectives that drove the migration. The narratives may be different, but they all resonate with the shared struggles. These stories celebrate their collective resilience and paves the way for a better understanding of the Indian diaspora. Now, coming to my story, I have spent most of my adult life as a migrant, living and working in several world capitals, first as an employee, then as an entrepreneur, and now as a management partner for a very well-reputed chain of restaurants, Mughal Mahal. And we are known for our hospitality in the entire country. Now, throughout my life abroad, the one continuous element which I noticed, and I am sure you all must have noticed, that we found, Madam, a profound appreciation of India's old age culture and traditions, and admiration for the unity of its people despite their diversity. I have also observed among citizens of those countries a great passion for Indian cuisine. That's how I entered into. My observation on food are probably a result of my work in the food and hospitality industry all these years. At Mughal Mahal, which is the name of my company, my partners and I, along with a dedicated team, the entire team is from India, selected from different states of India, have spent almost 4 decades building this chain that is synonymous with the best Indian cuisine in Kuwait. This is not my personal opinion. Let me be very clear with you. It is supported by repeated independent customer surveys and our long list of lifelong patrons. Now, besides this, from catering a vast number of satisfied patrons among Kuwaitis and expatriates in the country, we have also cultivated a unique model of food diplomacy. that leverages our brand name to create positive perception among citizens and residents in Kuwait about India and the Indians. Our interaction with the diners not only enriched their gastronomic experiences, but also exposed them to the Indian culture and traditions that create enormous goodwill and lay the foundation for a harmonious relationship with India. We Indians, we all Indians, all of us, and now I refer to the Indians in Kuwait, we build through our food diplomacy, foster empathy with India, and generate a better appreciation of the Indian perspectives. It encourages greatest interest in India and all things Indian, as well as create a fertile ground for developing influential pro-India networks among Kuwaitis that influence and drive outcomes favorable to India interest and to the Indian community in Kuwait. Now to conclude, I would just like to say that Indians, I heard the former minister talking about white collar, blue collar, middle, this and that, but I just wanted to add or enhance the statement, sir, Indians in Kuwait are no longer seen just as migrant laborers, but also appreciated and celebrated in Kuwaiti societies and government for their contribution in building positive, cohesive, harmonious societies in both India and Kuwait. Thank you. Jai Bharat, Jai Jagannath. And Madam, she pointed out two things. Now we have some challenges in Kuwait. Now I run a chain of restaurants with a specific cuisine, which is basically North Indian cuisine. And all GCC countries and the Arab world, they are very well familiar with the North Indian food because they have been coming to India, especially Mumbai or to Delhi. So I will request, Madam, I attended yesterday's two sessions also, they were very interesting and they spoke about food. So I'll request that to familiarize these Kuwaitis and to the GCC people in that region, we should organize some road shows where we can have cuisine from Odisha or cuisine from any state. Now the Kuwaitis, what I know, or GCC people, they only know 3-4 items: biryani, butter chicken, masala dosa, which is from Kerala. So I would like, Madam, with our help in Kuwait, and there are so many other business people also like me who will be definitely interested in participating with your state government to have a food road show, especially during the time when it is a Republic Day or Independence Day of India. Second thing, I just heard about the skill development. This is again a challenge. I have been telling this earlier also, and whenever any minister comes to Kuwait, I do speak about this point, that there is a lot of our people suffering through the hands of the local agents in our country. Although our Embassy of India takes all the precautions while signing the contracts, but still they manage to harass people. So I will suggest, let us have a portal online, state-wise. In case if we need any employee of any stature, we should be able to go on that portal of hospitality and pick up those boys, which will help us, which will help the employee, and he will know that he is going with the right employer, with the right salary, and with the right contract. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Kalra. We now move on to Mr. Sopnendu Mohanty. Mr. Mohanty is the Chief FinTech Officer at the Monetary Authority of Singapore. He is perhaps the only Indian, he was until recently perhaps the only Indian in such a senior position at the MAS, Monetary Authority of Singapore. He's now become a Singaporean national, but for a long time he did hold an Indian passport, and Singapore made an exception for him despite the fact that he was a non-national in a sensitive position. Mr. Mohanty is also a global thought leader in fintech and using the digital economy for solving financial inclusion and sustainability challenges. Mr. Mohanty, you are a fintech expert. I'm going to ask you about the prospects for fintech as a skill set to be developed amongst our youngsters as the digitalization of the economy gets deeper. What should be our strategy given that other countries would also be thinking on similar lines? We also wanted to pick your brains on your analysis of opportunities for India and Singapore to collaborate in fintech, digital public infrastructure and in sustainability, and also in central bank digital currencies. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kumaran. I can speak from here, is okay? Thanks for having this opportunity to speak at Pravasi Divas. And I will start saying, Mr. Kumaran, you know, fintech is interesting, deeply rooted in Indian diaspora construct. I will take the history back to 19th, 20th century. Chettiars were bankers in Southeast Asia. And if you take the Gujaratis and Marwadis, they were the bankers in East Africa. And they particularly served communities who are defranchised from financial sector. They lended to small merchants, small businesses. So traditionally, Indian migrants have been exceptionally good in the world of finance. Now the question is, what happened when software came in? It's also an interesting point that software is also a deep part of India's diaspora. We are also good in software. So bringing the Indian deep-rooted DNA of good in software, good in finance, it became a perfect storm for Indians to dominate fintech space. No wonder today, if you look at the global fintech community, almost more than 20 unicorns are in India, close to $90 billion of market cap. So India truly has developed a remarkable fintech capacity. Now, I always say that will India succeed in future in this space? I think there's a structural limitation of the world which will make India as an unstoppable leader in this space. Because if you take roughly, there are 30 million programmers globally. Out of 30 million programmers, 12 million are Indians, and other 10 million are Chinese and rest of the world. And the Chinese programmer are essentially looking at Chinese code. And the English code or English software is 60% dominated by Indian programmers. And we are not creating more programmers outside India. India continues to dominate that space by getting more programmers. So from a fintech standpoint, India will continue to dominate. I have a strong belief that if one sector where Indian diaspora will continue to shine in a big way will be the fintech space. The second point I would like to articulate here is that despite the success of fintech and financial sector, almost more than 50% of the world still don't have access to good finance. Still the access to credit is high interest rate. There are still challenges in creating basic financial health for many people. So there's a huge opportunity to grow, especially for Indian diaspora who are looking to build those innovation in the market, especially emerging market, Global South. Honorable Prime Minister spoke about India's big role in the Global South. And I can see absolutely without any doubt the Indian fintech experience. There are 9,000 fintech in India, founders who have done reasonably well. And for them, the Global South market is out there. And if they can find a way to step out and drive that value, it will be exceedingly well for India's diaspora going overseas. On the second point around which India has done also very well, which is going to be the global trend, is the ability to connect payment system, which is UPI, to different markets. If UPI, let's say 5 to 10 years from now, gets connected to different markets, especially Global South, where Singapore and India took a lead to connect each other, I think that will open up a huge infrastructure for Indian entrepreneurs or Indian fintech founders to create a global market of financial services, given finance is now getting deeply integrated into different subsector of economy. So that's the second aspect. And again, back to the question of Indian diaspora breaking barriers. One story I'd like to share, as Mr. Kumaran, then High Commissioner in Singapore, made a comment that I joined the Monetary Authority of Singapore in a very sensitive job despite being a foreigner. And as a regulator, you are in an odd position that to ensure that your national integrity is protected, and you are doing that role with a foreign passport. And that drives an extra responsibility as a migrant worker out there to be responsible, trusted by a foreign country to give that sensitive responsibility to me. So one of the things I always said as an Indian diaspora, that we have a huge responsibility to drive huge integrity, culture, values in our system, because that's something we must carry as we operate outside our country. Now, it has been an unusual career shift for me because I spent almost 18 years as a banker, and for me to switch as a regulator gave me an interesting perspective about where the future lies. And that goes back to the last question, Mr. Kumaran, that how do we see the future? I think from a broad spectrum perspective, the world is going to grow in 3 areas. And one of the areas which Honorable Minister Soba spoke about is the SME segment, because large part of finance must be directed to MSMEs and SMEs, because that's 80% of economy for many countries, and they need access to finance, not only in India, also globally, because SMEs don't have to be SMEs because they can grow. I am pretty sure, Madam Minister, that no SME wants to be called as a micro or a small SME, because the reason they call small and medium is because of the size of the physical. In the world of digital, there's no physical. So they can have a good idea and can get rid of the word M and S. So with that technology opportunity, thank you. With that opportunity, I think fintech can provide that opportunity to MSMEs and SMEs and create a new opportunity in terms of growing their idea, not only in India, but globally. So India, Singapore, for example, can have started working together using a digital platform called Proxtera, with High Commissioner will know, which will allow SMEs to directly trade with other countries digitally without any barriers in between. If we can put more platforms around the world where SMEs can trade among each other, that will create a huge opportunity not only for India, but also overseas. The last point is an opportunity which I think strongly going to resonate with especially Indian entrepreneurs going overseas, is the area of CBDC. And why I say that? It's a very technical product, but let me try to simplify. What is the single biggest barrier to sending money overseas or getting money from overseas? It's the cost of settlement. It's the cost of the bank which tries to verify both sides of the transaction. CBDC in particular, which India is taking a lead, will reduce that settlement cost and make the cost of moving money to less than 3%. Today, typically a bank takes around 8 to 9% to move money. With CBDC, there's an opportunity to reduce the cost even below 1%. If that happens, India today receives $100 billion of remittance. Just add a 10% efficiency. You don't do anything, you get $110 billion coming to India. So CBDC will play a big part in simplifying payment cost structure, which allow more remittance to move both sides. With that, I'll stop here, and we can take questions the second round.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mohanty. We now move on to Mr. Vilvanathan Krishnamurthy. He's a dedicated and experienced social worker and cultural leader in Germany with extensive professional background in welding technology, and he's also been very active in a number of social services for the Indian community in Berlin. Mr. Krishnamurthy, I want to try and ask for your analysis on both welding technology and other technologies that India can possibly contribute to in Germany in terms of sending in skilled workers, what kind of training they would require, what kind of issues Indian migrants face in Germany based on what you have come across in your own experience. And please also tell us something about your experience in managing Berlin's Hindu Temple and South Asia Counseling Center. Over to you, Mr. Krishnamurthy.
Thank you, sir. First of all, with your permissions, ಭಾರತ ಕೇಂದ್ರ ಸರ್ಕಾರದ ರಾಜ್ಯ ಸಚಿವೆ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದ ರತ್ನ ಮೇಡಮ್ ಶೋಭಾ ಅವರಿಗೆ ನನ್ನ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. வெளிநாட்டு தூதர் அலுவலகத்திலிருந்து உன்னத அதிகாரியான ஸ்ரீ குமரன் அவர்களுக்கு என்னுடைய வணக்கம். प्रवासी भारतीयों और देशियों भारतीय, आप सबके लिए आपका चरणों में मेरा प्रणाम. The skilled immigrants is having a historical place in the German history, because in the 18th century, lot of missionaries came to India and they developed our classical languages of Indian languages, and also someone who came also moderate the Malayalam language. The Germans has taken all the script of which has written in Palmblatt, now is been preserved in German. It was the time when German came to India and helping. Now the time has been changed. We are helping to the German society now, because before 10 years, the Indian skilled immigrants were very less. It approximately was 60,000 people. Thanks to our Prime Minister who take in charge and who take mutual understanding between the German government and the Indian government, now they are sending a lot of students to the German to study there. Now we are having more than 37,000 students are studying. In the next 2 years, as per the German Chancellor, the Prime Minister is telling, there will be more than 90,000 students will be there. So you can imagine German needs. In 2030, there will be a 3 million retirement will be there in the skilled work in the place. So they need a skilled workers. Now they are having an idea, giving a chances to study there and keep the students there for their continuation of the skilled worker. So now the Germans is looking after our India in other eye. Before, if any our prime ministers come to the German, they are showing in the television only about 30 seconds. Now they are showing the live, because that has been brought from Mr. Modi ji from India to the German. But he shows Indians are talented, Indians are well studied, and even we are working into the local government of Germans. They are asking us, how the Indian children are so intelligent, why not German children? The German children only will be passed the pre-university about 30%, the Indian students, Indian children passing about 99%. You can imagine how the talented of our children. So we must encourage them to bring a modified and talented. Now the German key post all are with Indian guys. You can go anywhere in the software companies. Example, the Volkswagen, the Mercedes and the Audi company, which now they are developing more and more with an AI technology to the car driving without the drivers parking the cars. So you can imagine these all are done from our Indian engineers. Thanks to the Prime Minister who encouraged our youngsters to come to the Germany and develop the technology there and utilize to become more and more. Because in 2030, if the 3 million jobless is going, because everybody retired means they are looking for that workers really who can work there. There are some barriers also there. I will come to the next. I will give it to the other person.
Thank you very much, Mr. Krishnamurthy. Last but not the least, thank you for your patience, Mr. Mehta. Mr. Mehta is a very multi-talented person. He's a professor who teaches negotiation and entrepreneurship Department of IESC Business School. He teaches for MBA classes, and he's also an award-winning actor. I mean, it can't be more diverse than that in terms of the spectrum. Mr. Mehta, please do tell us about the Indian community in Spain, to take over, take it further from what we heard about the Indian community in Germany, their characteristics, the challenges they face, etc. And also, your own experience in teaching business to European students, and anything else that you can share with us. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, Madam Minister, Honorable Ex-Minister. We met in Madrid a couple of years ago, Mr. Kumaran, and all the dignitaries on the dais, all the friends here. आप सभी को प्रणाम, meus amigos catalans, bona tarda, और जय जगन्नाथ, मेरे उड़ीसा के भाई बहनों को. To be the last speaker on a panel of 9 is like being the last batter in a T20 innings. You want to do your best, but neither you have time, nor anyone expects you to do much. So, but well. So let me address the question that that Mr. Kumaran has raised about Indians in Spain, and in general I would also like to talk a little bit about, in my opinion, why Indians have a specific advantage, why Indians are able to actually build bridges. Indian community in Spain is very diverse, because India is a diverse country. So we have Indians from all over, from across, the Indian map. We have right from Kashmir to Tamil Nadu. We have a very interesting and mixed community, and also we have many professionals. We have many, business owners, and we also have a huge blue-collar class. So we are not as huge compared to Spain or Germany, but still it's a very interesting community. And we are doing many interesting things. We are in academia, we are in corporate world, we are in the world of arts, we are in business, of course, and also in politics. In fact, our senator, Mr. Robert Massey, is here. He is an awardee for Pravasi Bharatiya Samman. He is the first senator of Indian origin in Spanish Parliament. So here you can see we are a very interesting mix. Now, I went to Spain some 20 years ago. I was already in a corporate job here, but I decided to do a PhD, and fortunately I got admission in one of the best business schools in the world, IESC. And when I was on the plane to Spain, a lady was sitting next to me, and she started a conversation with a very motherly approach. She asked me, "Are you going to Spain?" I was like, "Yes." Then she said, "Do you have any friends there?" I said, "No." She said, "Do you have any family there in Spain?" I said, "No." "Do you know if there is an Indian community in Spain?" I said, "I don't know." "Is Indian food available in Spain?" I said, "I don't know." "Are ingredients for Indian Spain available in Spain?" I said, "I don't know." Then she said, "But then why are you going to Spain?" I said, "Because I did not think of these questions before taking that decision." So we Indians, we are contrary to stereotypes. In fact, if we go back to each and every speaker's story, we are not, risk-averse individuals. We are calculated dreamers. We dream we take risks, but we also think how to mitigate them. And we are very good, ferocious, committed doers. We do things like, we heard from stories of Mr. Ashok Kalra, Mr. Ashok Mago. They actually did something. They not only just imagined or they not only dreamt of a future, they tried to take that step. And that is something that differentiates Indian community from many others. Now, why that happens, or how can we do that, or what is it that can help us succeed in that in that event? So, for that, I would like to play a little game. It will take just 50 seconds. It's a very simple exercise that I would like to do with all of you. It is a silent social quiz. Okay, it's a silent quiz. I will ask you a question. You will think of the answer, but you will not speak. And your answer is right only if it is the same answer that everybody else is thinking about. So if your answer is the same, then it's the right answer. In fact, my friends here can also participate. The question is, you are going to Paris to meet a friend. You know the time, you know the date, but you don't know the place. You are going to Paris to meet a friend. You know the time, you know the date, but you don't know the place. Where will you go? Think of the answer. And your answer is right only if it is the same answer that everybody else is thinking about. Have you thought of the answer? Okay, how many of you have thought about Eiffel Tower? So you can see 95% of the attendees here have thought of Eiffel Tower. Now what does this show? This is how cultures evolve. Cultures primarily are nothing but a collective, a group of solutions to social problems. How to greet, how to meet, how to speak, how to communicate. Now, you do the same thing outside this, this auditorium. You ask a person on the street, hey, you are going to Paris, and, where will you meet your friend? The response that you will get will be anywhere between, a polite evasion to a punch on the face. So, the very first thing that we need to do, and that's what Indians do very well, is they try to understand why the other person behaves the way they do. And that happens by learning the language. Dr. Krishnamurthy just showed how many languages he speaks. An average Indian child, by the time we finish our education, we already know at least, 3 languages. And this is a great advantage. So when we go out, we go abroad, it is easy for us to learn a new language. And fortunately, that's why when I went to Spain, I could pick up Spanish because phonetically also it is closer to Indian languages. And through Spanish, then I could, pick up Catalan, Valencian, Portuguese, French, etc. So language is one important point, and I see Indians do very well in that. And another interesting aspect of Indians abroad, and especially Indians that I know of, is that we don't build bridges, we become a bridge. So for example, in my case, myself, my wife, my sister who lives in Germany, even though we have our professional careers or we have, our professions, we also try to invite others to learn about our culture. Our Senator Robert Massey runs Indian Culture Center, and I used to teach Hindi in that Indian Culture Center. My wife used to teach Bharatanatyam and Indian folk dances. My sister teaches Indian classical music. We all do this because we want to invite others also to understand us. We become ambassadors of our culture. We show it to others how we think. Not only we understand them, we also give them an opportunity to understand us. And I think it is this duality that helps us establish better connections, integrate better, and eventually break barriers. I will stop here, and rest of the information I will share in questions. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mehta. You're such a fascinating speaker. I wish we didn't have to give you the slog overs, but we're already encroaching into the tea break. So before we close, I'll just like to hand over the floor to Honorable Minister Shobha Ji for her closing comments, please. Thank you, ma'am.
Friends, only 3-4 points, quick points. One has come about the job seekers, and there is a portal called Career Service Portal in Government of India, Labor and Employment Department. Every time you can see 1 crore posting there, like 1 crore job seekers, and even employees are posting their jobs there. That is the Government of India portal. You can visit anytime there. Number 2, actually now Kumaravan was telling you should integrate these to e-migrate portal. Surely we will do in the future, because Indian job providers, foreign job providers can post their jobs there, and also the Indian job seekers can also visit the portal there. We will do that because we are upgrading our career service portal from our department. Number 2, the fake companies. About the fake companies, also Government of India taken already. We have taken decision. We are displaying the registered companies who are providing the jobs, and taking people, workforce to foreign land. That also displayed in the website and portals. Jarur aap sab, you all please visit our portals, the portals which are there in Labor and Employment Department, in MSMEs, and also skill development, and also Niti Aayog and External Affairs Department. Please go through that, then we can find the details there. And also Mohanty ji told about the SMSC. We already started Udyam portal. Around 57 million entrepreneurs registered there in India. And also we are encouraging them to produce only export quality products. Then only we can export the things, our production to other countries, and also you can go for the businesses. That's what we are doing. We are encouraging that. And please let us use our digital platform, which is Government of India is running now in different departments and Niti Aayog. Please go through, and so much.
Thank you, madam. I just want to thank our fellow panelists for such an exciting and vibrant discussion, ranging all the way from the business environment in South America, challenges faced by Indian migrants in the Middle East, especially blue-collared workers, the need for enhancing our skilling and education environment, the excitement of running an Indian food business in the Middle East, prospects for fintech, and of course trends in our diaspora in Europe. So thank you very much to the Honorable Minister, the Honorable ex-MOS in our ministry, and of course the other esteemed panelists. Thank you very much.
Last, we must thank the hospitality of the people of Odisha. Really, the land of Jagannath, where is living here, we got the hospitality, and we are feeling really the Atiti Devo Bhava. It is in the Vedic language. We are feeling here, especially thanks to the government official. We are encouraging, and they are supporting and coming and going, taking up as a careness. We thanks to the people of Odisha. Very, very, very thankful to you.
Thank you so much, sir. Ma'am and everyone present over here on the dais, I request all of you to please come forward and pose for a group photograph. And I believe that with this shared inspiring stories, the challenges prevailing, we can certainly overcome. We can break the barriers, and of course, together, With all of your support, we can build the bridges. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your houseful support. And one more session is there. In couple of minutes, we will start another session. I would be requesting everyone to please stay back. The session is all about green connections, diaspora's contribution to sustainable development. And the session will be chaired by Honorable Minister of Electronics and Information Technology, Information and Broadcasting and Railways, Shri Ashwini Vaishnav sir. I would be requesting everyone to please stay back. We'll be witnessing another fruitful session. Meanwhile, we are thankful to Honorable Minister ma'am. Thank you to our befitting moderator and esteemed panelists for your valuable addition. Definitely with these takeaways, we can certainly overcome the problems, the hurdles which are present. Once again, thanking from all of you from the bottom of our heart. I would be requesting and seeking the presence of all our amazing audience we have over here, the vibrant diasporas, and of course the industry leaders. Thank you very much. To please be here, support us for the next panel discussion. Plenary Session 3, Green Connections, Diaspora's Contributions to Sustainable